Hey anglers, it's Al the Hitman Sims here with the weekly Fishing Recon Report, brought to you by blackopsfishing.com, real undercover fishing. First report comes to us from Connecticut Outfitters, week of April 13, 2012 by Gary Brummett. Green crabs are in stock now, as well as flounder chum, sand and bloodworms, and live eels. Don't forget, Gary has a 24-hour live bait machine in front of his store. If you can't make it during regular hours or run out of bait in the middle of the night, that's the place to go. On the Connecticut River, Gary says bait is staging up outside the mouth of the Connecticut River. This includes alewife, bluebacks, and yes, some bunker in the mix. The lower Connecticut River, herring are moving, although in smaller numbers, and alewife can be seen gathering in the Salmon River near the Leesville Dam. Schoolie stripers seem to be everywhere. In the greater Hartford area, keeper striper reports are coming in every day now. Carlos, a shop regular, spent the night at the park in East Hartford and was rewarded with 2 keeper stripers between 1 and 2 a.m. Carp fishing is excellent. Ian fished just 4 hours in the afternoon and landed multiple carp over 25 pounds in an area he had baited for a few days. Paderewski Pond in New Britain is hot with black crappie. North of Hartford, water flows are terribly low all around, but Bill S. and company caught a pile of species in one outing on the river, including stripers, pike, bass, and a surprise brown trout with a hooked jaw and a beautiful markings. Way to go, Bill. Also, Matt was killing smallies in the Enfield area on albino and LC shakers, 3 1/4 inch and half-ounce lead heads from shore near the confluence of the Scannick River. His biggest weighing 4.5 pounds. Salmon River and Farmington's TMA's catch and release sections are heavily stocked with fat trout. Gary says it's time to strip the woolly buggers and mutakas. Weathersfield Cove, one customer visiting from Alabama caught a 5-pound largemouth bass on a night crawler. Guys fishing the channel between the cove and the river are seeing stripers, channel cats, and pikes still moving through. Marine report. Blackfish seem picky. Green crabs and Asian crabs fish closer to the inlets is the way to go. Gary has heard of some successful flounder outings around Waterford. Sandworms and clam chum are the ticket. Connecticut Outfitters also reports bunker and some striper action on the Thames River. The next report comes to us from Fish Connection in Preston. Jack said the big news were the bunkers showing up on the Thames River all the way to Norwich Harbor, with 4 to 5 pound bluefish slamming them at the mouth of the river. Pocatonic Cove and Buoy 27 are producing stripers. Also, fishing in front of the casino is a great bet. Cheyenne, who often fishes the cove in his kayak, reminds us to use large lures in the 8 to 9 inch range. Some of his favorites are the Yozuri crystal minnow, hoagies, and sluggos. A few stripers have been caught in the Greenville Dam area. Jack says we desperately need rain to bring the big run of bass in. Jack says winter flounder fishing is good. Anglers have been filling their 2-fish flounder limits on the Niantic River and off of Bluff Point. Sandworms are the best bait. Carp fishing is still very good, and Pocatonic Cove has been producing some really large fish. Cheyenne says a few customers have been hitting the trout management areas on the Salmon and Farmington rivers with great success. Small ponds that are open to fishing prior to April 21st are still producing bass, pickerel, and panfish. The next report comes to us from Fishing Factory 3 in Middletown. Andrew tells us he spent the last few weeks filling the shop with all the latest rods, reels, and lures, with still plenty more to come. Andrew would also like us to know that the shop is hosting a catered barbecue for the next 3 weekends. Stop in, register for the trout tournament, and join the fun. Sandworms and bloodworms are now in stock. Blackfish. A few fish were reported from the rock piles in Niantic Bay, but other than that, it's been kind of quiet. Reports are slightly better to the west of the Connecticut River. Andrew says he's had a scattering of reports on winter flounder from all the usual places. Also reports of bunker and Norwich Harbor came into the shop this week, and some small harbor-sized bluefish in the mouth of the Thames. The mouth of the Connecticut River has an abundant supply of schoolie striped bass with some legal-sized fish mixed in. Expect that bite to bust wide open in the next few weeks as the bait starts to move in. Andrew says just one good rain could make that happen. The Salmon River, Farmington River, and Hammonasset Rivers are all fishing well at the moment. River flows are ideal. Small rapalas, husky jerks, and rooster tails continue to be the lures of choice. Mealworms and garden worms will also get them tight. Just remember, it's catch and release in these areas. Andrew says the pike bite in Haddam has slowed down, but there are still some gators willing to take a swipe at a swim bait or slam a large live bait in that area. The coves, especially Chapman's Pond, have been giving up a few northerns, but he's not hearing about any real monsters lately. Andrew was talking to a few of the commercial shad fishermen who say there's no shortage of bait from Essex to the breakwalls. Stripers. Andrew tells us there are a good amount of schoolie-sized fish being caught in the river this week, and reports of legal-sized fish being caught are getting pretty consistent. The shop weighed in a 22-pounder on 412 that was caught on a sandworm in Cromwell. The Goodspeed at Haddam Bridge has coughed up a few nice fish this week as well. The white perch fishing has been pretty solid. Most of the reports are coming from anglers fishing for stripers with worms up and down the river. This has been Al the Hitman Sims with the Black Ops Fishing Recon Report. Until next week, keep off my bass.